Hey there guys, so in Union Cross this week, it's an amazing chance for new players, and actually for that matter old players as well, to get tons and tons of guilt levels. Your Nova level is going to get a really big boost if you farm this event like crazy, and add to that as well, you could get the potential for some pretty decent utility medals as well. So, the Angry Adventurer is back. He's been on a bit of a hiatus lately, but if you're not familiar with what this enemy is, essentially every single time you defeat it, you have a chance of picking up a past event medal. If you're quite new and don't know what a past event medal is, well, actually you don't have to be that new anymore because we haven't got one in quite a while. Let me cast your mind back to a time long ago where you go to the Events tab in the quest menu and you'd see in there events which would allow you potentially to farm unique medals that wouldn't appear anywhere else. Pretty much the only thing we see of that anymore is the Organization 13 event medals, which are still in the Events tab. Every other event medal seems to, or every other new event medal seems to come from Union Cross nowadays, which is, it's whatever. I'm not too upset about that. It just means you have to play Union Cross a lot more. But this is the best version of that. This has really good drop rates. The only bad thing about it in the past is that the drop rates have been absolute garbage. But now the fact that we've got the little pet up there with its steal trick, which I'll talk about in a second, combine that with the fact that this particular quest has every single enemy in the entire quest, or every single mob of enemies at least, able to drop items for you, which are mostly going to be event medals. It's a fantastic opportunity for us to get tons and tons of event medals. So I've made up some little slides which I'm going to talk about, like my recommendations for new players and actually old players alike, for what you should be doing over this week. And we'll talk about that in just a second, but real quick, let's talk about our little pet friend up there. Okay, so if we rank up our little pet beyond rank 1, as soon as we get to rank 2, he learns this trick right here called Steal. Rank 3 you don't have to have, but it's nice to have anyway. That Steal trick means that whenever an enemy drops an item, it basically doubles the amount of items that we get. So that absolutely works for Union Cross as well. If ever an enemy set drops an item for us, it's pretty much going to double the medals that we get out of it. For medals like the Dwarf, which I'm going to talk about the Dwarf in a little while, that is so friggin' important because you need like literally 100 of those things just to guilt one copy of it. So anything that speeds up that process is extremely welcome. Anyway, let's talk about my recommendations. Okay, so my intention here was to show you all of the medals that could be guilted, but I kind of realized that I messed up. In a couple of slides time, you're going to see the word 14. 14 different medals that can be guilted. It's actually 18 because I've got the 14 that you can see here, so 7 plus 7. I forgot to add to that list the 1, 2, 3 that actually individually come out of the Sora, Riku, and Meow Wow. So if you're a brand new player that's never guilted any of these medals before, so 7 on this page, 7 on this page, plus a 3 I forgot, plus I somehow forgot Mowgli and powers as well. I don't know how I did that, but anyway. Add all those together and we have 18 times 6, which equals 108 Nova levels, not 14 and 84 respectively. I don't know how I screwed that up, but anyway, there are up to 108 levels of Nova up for grabs here, guys. That is really powerful. Like, I think I've got a pretty high level of Nova right now, and it's like 300 and something. If you're a brand new player that's instantly able to get, well, if you work really hard over this week, and you're able to get 108 levels of Nova just from working for a week, that's a really big boost in power, so I really hope you guys take advantage of that. In terms of the actual power of the medals and how much you're going to use them, to be honest, you're not going to use any of them really that much. There are certain situations though, where a couple of them could be extremely useful for you. So let me show you what I mean. Okay. In my past event guides, particularly the Hades Cup and a lot of other really high level content, there is the condition to defeat all the enemies without having to continue. Basically, all that means is that no matter how little damage you're able to do, eventually you'll be able to take down the enemy, right? So if all you have to do is survive their attacks. If they have really powerful attacks, but you're able to boost your defenses up super high and just turtle them, which is that's what that means. We turtle our attacks by essentially boosting our defenses up really high and then dealing out as much damage as we can, even if that's only a little bit. Let's say the enemy has 100 bars of HP, and each turn we can only deal 1 bar back. As long as we're able to survive, eventually we can take the quest down. So like Hades Cup, for example, there's 6,000 jewels up for grabs whenever the Hades Cup rolls around. if you can just turtle your way through that, imagine, 6,000 joules that you otherwise wouldn't have any access to. So in the past, I talk about medals like Pluto B, which raises your power-based defense by 2 tiers for 1 turn. If you get extra attack on that, that's 4 tiers for 1 turn, which is half the buff cap. If you have a copycat medal, and especially if you have a copycat medal with extra attack, that's 6 or the full amount, 7 layers of power-based defense for 1 turn. At that point, which power-based enemy can touch you? If you're at 7 layers of power-based defense and a power-based enemy attacks you and you have a defensive like a defense boost skill, nothing's touching you. Nothing is touching you. Except if an enemy has Dispel, then you're in big trouble, or if you get paralyzed and somehow can't use any of your defense boosting medals. So my recommendation is, well, okay, why am I mentioning that? Pluto B is what I was mentioning just then, that raises power-based defense. But these two right here, Alice and Cheshire Cat, is a speed type medal that raises your magic-based defense by 2 tiers for 1 turn. And Pooh Bear over there is a power-based medal that raises your speed-based strength by 2 tiers for 1 turn. So if the next Hades Cut, for example, rolls around with either a magic-type enemy or a speed-type enemy that's really, really strong, and we can just turtle away all the hits, you guys are going to be thanking me because, well, thanking yourselves for doing the hard work. But yeah, if you take nothing else from this video, try and get at least 1 copy of each of these medals with extra attack, preferably 2. The reason I say preferably 2 is because, again, if we get paralyzed, which is a really big concern, then we lose our chance for those buffs, then we're in big trouble. But again, if we have 2 copies of them, or we use 1 copy but the second attack doesn't go off because of paralysis, that's totally fine. Then we can at least try and survive. Yeah, if you take nothing else from this video, try and get at least 2 copies of each of these medals, each with extra attack. At the very least, just get 1. A lot of the other medals I don't really care too much for. Like the 2 on the right here are decent for new players, but I don't know, veteran players probably don't have that much use for them. Saying that though, like a lot of Proud Mode content, especially the early stuff, you can get through by guilting Halloween Sora, and with extra attack you can get 2 layers of strength, because obviously his effect is that he raises your strength and defense by 1 tier for 1 turn. So if you have no other buffers, like if you don't have Illustrated Kari, if you don't have 0.2 Kari, it's a good place to start for new players. In terms of power, strength, and magic-based offense, Young Kari on the right there is pretty good in terms of she gives you 1 layer of power-based strength, PSM strength and PSM defense for 1 turn. A really good place for a new player to start, and could help you out offensively and defensively depending on how you want to use it. All these medals though, you're probably going to want to have a gauge restoring medal to help you out if you are trying to take on high level content, but anyway, we can deal with that stuff when it comes out. Just for now, just try and get extra attack on both of these, like at least these 2 guys right here. Keep them, like they drop at 5 stars, keep them at 5 stars, keep rolling over and over again until you eventually get a 5-star medal with extra attack. At that point, try and guilt it. The guilt means next to nothing in terms of the damage output. You just want that defensive utility. So once you get the defensive utility, then you can start trying to put copies into guilting it. Or you can wait till a guilting campaign. You can keep a bunch of spare copies for now, then when a guilting campaign rolls around, you have a much better chance of getting a high level guilt. In terms of dealing damage to the enemies, these are all tier 3s right here. They're not amazing, like they're not super strong damage dealers, but saying that, these guys have the potential, a fully guilted tier 3 medal with either negative 60 air, ground, or potentially plus 1,000 strength, has the potential to out-damage an unguilted tier 4, tier 5, and maybe even a tier 6, so they're definitely nothing to scoff at. Halloween Sora, Sora Riku and Meow Wow, Classic Donald, and Flower Meow here. I mean, Flower Meow's probably the worst of the bunch, but I used Classic Donald for months. I used it for so long, even after like a lot of people had moved on. You get negative 60 air or ground defense on that, and I reckon you can still deal a decent bit of damage with it. A lot of the times though, Proud Mode is really where you're going to have the most utility for these guys. Tons and tons of content in Proud Mode is not difficult because of the level of the enemies, it's because of the restrictions that you have. Your strength in Proud Mode doesn't come from the amount of really strong medals that you have, it's from like the diversity of your medal pool that you can draw from. So opportunities like this you should never pass up. You should always try and pick up at least 1 copy of each of these guilted. and it's really going to help you out in the future. I could kind of bore you about like how annoying it is to try and guilt the Dwarf's medal or the Queen medal, but I won't bore you with all of that. Basically, just trust me when I say you need to get literally 100 of the 1-star versions. I've talked about this in the past. I was kind of bitching about how difficult it was going to be to try and guilt these things. It's a lot easier now because we have steel on the with the pet, and we have like a lot more chances to actually pick up these per quest. Still a pain in the ass though, but if ever there's a time where we're going to guilt it, it's during this week. I'm pretty sure I've run the quest like 4 or 5 times, and I've already got like 6 or 8 or 10 of these little dwarf medals, so I'm confident I'm eventually going to be able to guilt this thing, and I'm going to try to do it this week. So if you want to see that's the proof of why it takes 100. Again, I made these slides months and months ago when the adventure request first came out. So if you need help, or you need me to reference what I'm talking about here, just let me know. But basically all this slide is saying is that it takes 7 queens and 14 playing card medals each time you want to guilt a queen. And yeah, it's not too important. But yeah, if you want me to talk about that, I can. Halloween Store is pretty much the only one that's a pain in the ass to guilt, because he drops at 3 stars, and then you have to use like more copies of itself to guilt it. The rest just drop at 5 stars. They all drop at 5 stars, all drop at 5 stars. Pretty much all those do as well. And again, yeah, the playing cards, Soriku, Meow Wow, Halloween Sora, and the Queen are like the only painful ones to guilt apart from the 7 dwarfs. So you definitely have a really good chance here at getting that full 108 levels of Nova this week, guys. Okay, so what if you're like a brand new player that doesn't have much power, and you're like, I really hate Union Cross because I always have to be revived, I barely deal any damage, and I feel like I'm, I don't know, a burden to the rest of the players on the in the quest. What you should do is basically follow the leader around. I'm hoping I get the Castle of Dreams perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. If it's at the start of the quest, it'll be even better. Damn, it's not. Alright, we can pause and restart till we get one at the start. Okay, so we didn't end up back in Castle of Dreams, but that's okay. What we want to do is make sure we get into as many fights as possible. So try and find an enemy that's like an ally that's like leading the charge. In this case, it's going to be me, hopefully, if everything goes to plan. And if they're just like steamrolling all the enemies, like immediately taking them all out, then just follow the leader, get into the battles with them, because as long as you're in the battle, then if an item gets dropped, which it should all the time here, then it's going to be dropped for you as well, which is all that you need. You just need to be getting all the item drops. So let's move on to the next room. Hopefully we're not too far behind everyone else. Oh, beautiful, it's linear. In a linear room, that's perfect, because everyone's going to fight the same enemies at the same time. So you can get everyone to bunch up. If you're like literally brand new and not dealing any damage, don't even bother attacking. Let me call everyone over. I just try and call everyone over for shenanigans just because, I don't know. It's like a holdover from when the shenanigans were the only enemies that dropped items for us. But in this case, every single enemy is basically a shenanigans this time. So I'm just going to go in and chop all the enemies up. Again, getting all these drops, and hopefully all the party members are getting the drops as well. All the fellow helpers out for this quest. Easy peasy, dead. In theory, there you go, another drop. God, this is so good. Like, between the pet and our own ability to pick up items, it's so good right now. Oh gosh, the frame rate's getting really bad. Sorry guys, I think my phone's had enough of recording for one day. Keep going. Oh yeah, before I forget, I wanted to mention the Mowgli and Powers. I wanted to bring that up specifically because there's a quest in Proud Mode, quest like 307 I believe, that requires you to defeat magic enemies with medals that deal 4 gauges or more to actually use. And Mowgli and Powers is a perfect candidate for that quest, so if you're able to get one of those with some traits on it, you'll be thanking me a lot later when you get up to quest 307, if you haven't beat it already. Okay, let's keep going here. I may as well just skip to the end, guys, because, again, that's all I wanted to say. You'll be doing so much to help your party out if all you do is just help out by not dying, basically. If the allies don't have to spend their medals to pick you up and instead can just keep flying forward, then they're definitely going to be thankful to you. Dark Side, hopefully this will drop a decent enemy for us. Sorry, Dark Side. I meant Invisible. Let's keep going. I might just skip ahead to the end of the quest so we can see the reward screen. But yeah, basically that's all I mean. Just try and follow the leader as they are taking down the enemies if you're new. and you'll get tons and tons of rewards. And yeah, I'll skip to the end. Okay, you can see that we finished off with 17 little golden capsules, so hopefully that turns into a fair bit of rewards for us. I'm pretty sure I mentioned before that I think my record was like, I've only done this 4 or 5 times, but I got like 17 or 18 medals dropping in one quest, which is ridiculous. I'm definitely going to have to empty out my storage again. That's going to be one of the limiting factors of this week, basically, is how often you're going to have to run back and empty out your storage, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so what have we got? 3D Sora, 2 Dwarves, beautiful. And a lot of... Oh, a Christmas Sora, cool. And 2 Alice in Cheshire Cats, excellent. So, different enemy medals drop in different places, so I'm guessing Alice in Cheshire Cat drops from this one right here, and Christmas Sora as well, I guess, drop from Olympus Coliseum. I know that Sora, Riku, and Meow Wow at 6 stars drops in Wonderland. The Mines, I'm assuming, drop a fair few of the 7 Dwarfs medals, and probably the playing cards and Queen as well. So if you guys know the full list of which item drops where, post it in the comments, and I'll definitely leave it as like a favorite or pinned comment, whatever you call it. So I'll just show you what I mean real quickly. So I'm just going to take a 5-star version of this medal that I've got here. Even though I've already got a 6-star version, there's no point leveling it up and then trying to reroll that way, because it's really, really intensive on resources. So I may as well just keep them at 5 stars, try and fuse them together like this as they come. If we get extra attack, perfect, then I can level it up to 6 stars, but if not, no, I didn't get it. Now I'll just keep re-rolling as a 5-star. If it gets to the point where it's got 3 dots, well then, I may as well just guilt a new medal at that point, you know? Why not? Why not? They're just here, so... I've talked for way too long in this video, guys. I hope you have really, really good luck with your trades, really good luck with your guilts. Again, if you're really short on resources, we are in 0 AP week this week, so you can, like, try and farm evolution materials on the respective days, but if you just want to get tons and tons of the 5-star versions of each medal, wait till a guilting campaign and then go for your guilts. That's a completely respectable decision as well. Yeah, let me know how you guys are going. If you need any help with anything, let me know, and until then, I'll see you soon. All the best, guys. Bye.